right, ladies and gentlemen, what you saw there was 400 more rounds, or 100 more rounds, getting the SAR-9 out to 400 rounds without incident. Before I get started on the video and what I don't like about the firearm, as always, want to invite you to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Today is the day of salvation. If you, once again, have watched before and you don't know what that means and you have questions, it would be my great pleasure for you to reach out to me in the comments section or gsquaredtactical@gmail.com, and let's have a conversation about the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Either way, SAR-9 back out at the range. What I don't like, that's 100 rounds more, getting it out to 400 rounds. The thing is absolutely filthy. It has not been cleaned. As you can see, it still has a lot of the whatever, that almost Glockish type grease that was in it when I picked it up. It is extremely dirty, has not been oiled, has not been cleaned. Any oil you see on it is what was there when I picked it up from the factory. So when you have a gun with this much value, like I said in the other videos, with the combination of back straps, you have the tool to push your pin out for the back strap, cleaning brush, you have your ramrod, you have two 17 round magazines, and a nice carrying case, and just the overall value, the steel sights, and how well polished everything was. Just feature rich for what I paid $200 for this gun. It's definitely worth, in my opinion, several $100s more than that. So it almost gets to that place where, do you really want to say anything negative about it? Because typically, if you're going to catch grief in the comment section, it'll be if you're giving a budget-friendly firearm any kind of grief whatsoever, right? So, but again, there's always going to be something about every firearm, at least one thing I have found, that you're not going to like, okay? Not sure if you noticed in that video, especially in the very beginning when I was a little bit closer to the camera, how that it has this, SIG thing going on. And with SIG, and most of them being optic ready, the optic back here acts as a shield. I almost call it like a deflector on an AR-15 to deflect the spent casings away from you. Well, that's the way your optic acts on a SIG. So many people talk about erratic ejection patterns and things like that. It kind of trips me out a little bit, because there's very few firearms in the world that I have shot that have a more erratic ejection pattern than does a SIG, most SIG Sauers. So, but again, you have that optic up there, so it kind of acts as a deflector and makes it look as though it's throwing it to the right, but the reality is it's actually throwing it back at you. I've seen and heard women talking in gun stores about how they could not shoot their SIG pistol that they had gotten for their EDC or whatever, because while practicing with it, they were just being impaled with spent casings. And I know that's true. That is a very accurate statement. It's the pollen is thick out here today, and I've had to take an allergy pill, been doing a little bit of mouth breathing, and so I'm pretty sure I came pretty close to swallowing a piece of brass. I mean, it was landing on top of my hat, falling all down on the front of me. It was very, very distracting. And I don't remember that in the first 200-300 rounds per se. I mean, it was kind of tossing it back, and maybe it's just because it's getting dirtier, I don't know, but it is literally just impaling me with the spent casings. Now, it's not malfunctioning, probably not going to be a huge deal during a defensive situation, not trashing the gun, just simply stating something that I wish were not the case. Maybe I'll get the gun cleaned up and see if maybe it has something to do with that. I don't think so. I don't know how it would, but definitely, I mean, and again, in the first couple of videos that I done, it was tossing it back at me, but it seemed to be way worse today for some reason. I am using Blazer Brass 115, and before I was using some 124 and a combination of 115 MagTech. So maybe it's the difference in the ammunition that I'm using, but I also put the 115 aluminum, 115 steel from MagTech through it, and I don't recall it being quite so bad. So maybe it's the ammo, I don't know, but it has always consistently throughout all of the ammunition kind of thrown it back at the shooter. My wife made that comment as well. So that would be one thing. The second thing I don't like about it, as I've already mentioned, is just the safety. But I think the folks in the comments section that mentioned in the other videos that Galloway Precision makes a delete kit for this that apparently is inexpensive and super easy to delete this safety. Appreciate you guys for pointing that. Didn't even know that was an option. But I would get rid of the safety. And honestly, you know, I want to say something about the plastic guide rod, but for 200 bucks, I'll probably leave that alone because I've got $800 or $900 guns that have a plastic guide rod. So I'll probably leave that one alone and not say anything about that necessarily. Other than that, man, for the value that you receive in this gun, I have no beef about it whatsoever. As I've said in the other videos, very great feeling gun in the hand. I like the way it protrudes out here at the front, really keeping your grip high and tight. Just feels phenomenal in the hand. And the mag release is very functional without adjusting your grip on the gun. And just overall, cannot speak enough to the tremendous value that I have been seeing in these SAR-USA firearms. Definitely can't recommend it enough. If you've been looking at one, I realize they don't have optics on them, but hey man, give me your cheap guns with just standard irons for 200 bucks. Absolutely, I'll take it. You know, I don't care. If it ain't optic ready, I'm not buying it. You know how many times I hear that? $200, sometimes less than that. I've seen some for $179. Come on, bro. You got to go out and buy you one of these. SAR-USA, SAR-9. This is the stainless version. Thanks so much for watching. Consider going over, supporting me on Patreon. Also, gsquaredtactical.com. 3 lines in the corner. Support the channel. Pick a tier. Clear out the box beside name your price. Put in the price you want to donate. Every bit of it will go back into the channel to buy ammunition, spray paint, wood for the targets, everything that goes into that. Also, you can do the super thanks. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, share on your Instagram, Facebook, get the name out there, get the subscriber count up. And I really appreciate everyone for watching and all the kind comments in the comment section. And as always, to God only be the glory.